When you're using your leaf chamber fluorometer, the 6400-40, you also need to remove the bottom chamber in order to install this chamber. So I'll demonstrate how to do that now. First, loosen the hex screws that hold the bottom chamber in place. And you'll see the chamber separates from the rest of the center head. But you'll notice that there is a hose leading from the bottom of the chamber that connects to the center head. And you'll also notice that there's an orange wire coming from the bottom of the center head. And that orange wire connects up over here with this purple connector, and that's your leaf temperature thermocouple. We have to disconnect both of these to remove the bottom chamber. So first, start by simply pulling up on the chamber and holding the hose with your other hand, and the two will separate. To remove the thermocouple, simply pull straight out on the thermocouple connector, and the bottom chamber will become completely separate from the center head. Now, to install our fluorometer, you'll notice the fluorometer has its own chamber bottom, and we are going to replace our standard chamber bottom with that particular bottom. But we need to reuse our O-rings, our screws, and our thermocouple. So first, remove your O-rings from the standard bottom chamber and place them on your table. Then you can remove your screws and to reuse the thermocouple, there is an O-ring that holds that thermocouple in place. And to remove the thermocouple, simply grasp the black barrel and pull straight out on the thermocouple. And it will separate from the chamber bottom. And you can set the standard bottom aside. Now we're ready to install our fluorometer bottom. To insert our thermocouple, simply push the thermocouple in the center. And now is a good time to align that thermocouple properly. You want to push up on the thermocouple until the bead of the thermocouple is about 1 millimeter above the surface of the gasket. And that will make sure that when your leaf is in the chamber, it will be touching the thermocouple. Now we want to insert our O-rings in the proper place. And then we can reattach our chamber. If you misplace some O-rings, there should be spare O-rings in your spare parts kit for each chamber that you purchase. Once the screws are tightened, you can plug in your thermocouple. And the thermocouple is keyed. There is a positive and a negative side, and there's also one prong is slightly larger than the other, so you should be able to plug it in without turning it backwards. Next, we need to install our lower chamber exhaust tube and simply put it in the right position and gently press up. And the tube will go easily onto the hose barb. Now we're ready to install the upper half of our fluorometer chamber. The upper half of this chamber also has a place for O-rings, so we want to insert our O-rings that we removed from our upper chamber. And then we can reuse our screws and attach our chamber. You'll notice that there are two cables coming from the fluorometer. One of the cables leads to an additional cable that connects to your console, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. The smaller cable provides some power to the fluorometer, and that connects to the connector on the side of the sensor head, and you'll notice that there are notches in both connectors. So simply line up the notches and press it down to put it in place. To connect up the cable, one end connects to the fluorometer cable, and the other end connects to the auxiliary port on your LI6400 console. And now your leaf chamber fluorometer has been installed.